knockout that turns the table is just a cherry on top. It's the wildest moment to watch. All these things, along with the combination of perfect timing, leave us in shock and surprise of just getting slammed or whacked right in the face. Sure, punching and smacking are exciting to watch, but at times, knockouts can be brutal. You'll see some outstanding yet vicious knockouts from some devastating fighters. So, are you excited to have a look at some of the greatest knockouts of all time? Let's begin. Joe Louis KO Billy Conn, 1941. The fierce Billy Conn was on the verge of winning the title of the heavyweight crown. This would leave you in a terror that Billy outfought and outboxed Joe Louis for almost 12 rounds. Thrilling, right? However, fatefully, Billy went in for the kill in the 13th round. Imagine, straight into the danger zone against the big, strong man. Billy was so outrageous and efficient that he landed some very powerful punches that the heavyweight division has ever seen. However, Louis connected some of his perfect steps towards Billy Conn, and eventually he got hurt. In the end, no one completed the job as Joe did. Perhaps one of the most surprising knockouts. Sugar Ray Robinson KO 5 Gene Fulmer, 1957. Well, surely people say that Sugar Ray Robinson is one of the enormous fighters that has ever lived. To everyone's surprise, he lost his middleweight crown to an absolute fighter, Gene Fulmer. Well, they headed into a rematch for capturing the crown. By that time, Robinson's prime years were no more, and it was obvious that his speed, stability, and efficiency were eventually fading. However, when the 5th round began, there was one thing that everybody witnessed: Robinson's power. It was the clarity of the never-fading power of this fighter. In the first 4 rounds, Gene was in full form of landing punches. But just like I mentioned, the 5th round was a game-changer. It was the real opening of Robinson. He landed powerful, perfectly aimed punches towards the chin. And that was the moment of turning the tables by the greatest two-hand puncher. Muhammad Ali KO 8 George Foreman, 1972. Well, perhaps this was called the best knockout of the year 1972. It is the most famous boxing event. It was a great opportunity for Muhammad Ali, and he availed it to every extent. He secured the greatest title and the legacy of all time with his dominant knockout performance. However, Foreman was known to be an absolute beast of knockout punches, but Muhammad Ali nailed his performance through perfect timing, right aim, and a series of powerful steps by launching it strongly to put the big man Foreman on the ground. It wasn't like punching Foreman several times, but it was more of wounding him enough for the right amount of time. This led to the unparalleled career of Muhammad Ali. Phil Baroni KOs Dave Men, UFC 39, 2002. This one's from 2002, one of the most thrilling and badass matches. Baroni is one of New York's badasses. He took care of knocking out Dave Meni in just 18 seconds. Visualize it. How fascinating it must have been to watch it live. Baroni was so assertive that he didn't give Dave any chance to defend by punching him in the head several times and eventually forcing him towards the cage. And no, it didn't end there. Baroni forced 5 more punches on his head until he was declared the winner. His brutal win was worth the celebration and appreciation. What do you think about this knockout punching game? Manny Pacquiao vs. Ricky Hatton, 2009. This one is going to leave you surprised for sure. Imagine months of hard work and build-up just ended in less than 6 minutes. In this knockout, Manny Pacquiao with a left hook landed on Ricky's jaw. Within a second, Ricky collapsed unconscious, flat on his back. This brutal effort was impressive and one of the best ones. Manny was efficient and speedy through the start of the match. He was able to dominate and hence made some violent moves. For Manny, it was all about who could bring the best out of him through challenging him, and for Ricky, it was just the fact that he got beaten by one of the best fighters, though his talent was of no question. This was a thrilling and rigorous match that anyone will ever see. Imagine this knockout right in front of you. I'm sure it will leave you frozen and shocked. Sergio Martinez KO2 Paul Williams 2010. In this knockout match, the world witnessed one of the worst and most brutal punches. Sergio had a thunderous and ferocious blow on Paul that eventually put him to sleep. It was one of the most finishing, precise, and timely located punches. Sergio was so powerful, truly a punch punisher, that he landed his left-hand punch onto Paul Williams, which resulted in a dramatic fall of Paul, straight and flat to the ground. This is one of the greatest knockouts in history, also known as the best single punch knockout match against the fighter who was never stopped by the big punchers, but this one proved it to be wrong. Barboza and Hatton 2012. The exciting and awaiting match of Barboza and Hatton led to be the most classic knockout. The contest was tipped to be enthralling for everyone. Certainly one of the best knockouts ever when Barboza took a full 360 degrees whirl and slammed Hatton's jaw with a brutal kick. And boom! It made Hatton nervous and he fell, frozen and unconscious on the canvas. It was surely a classic, raw and powerful display of complete domination by Barboza. Froch KO8 George Groves 2014. This one was truly a bad blood rematch between two absolute beast fighters. It was also called the biggest fight in British boxing history. George efficiently blocked the first punch, but he had his hand down by the waist when Froch ferociously launched punches to the right of his jaw, which ultimately led to the fall of George. He collapsed, and it was an unconscious and breathtaking moment for the audience at Wembley. It was brutal but classic finishing to the rematch. Matches like these will leave you in awe and uncertainty of what will happen in the very next moment, right? Beneil Dariush and Scott Holtzman 2020. Beneil Dariush was able to display his efficiency in matches before this knockout game. He is known for his technical abilities and Scott Holtzman for his furious pace. Both equally powerful fighters had an amazing yet exciting match. Surprisingly, it was a first-round knockout, but a very impressive one. Some exchange of furious and strong punches and kicks. These were highly impactful for both the fighters. However, Beneil slammed Scott with a flush knee, which almost finished the game. Beneil didn't stop and landed a spinning back fist, which crashed Scott towards the ground. Isn't it impressive and thrilling to have a knockout in just the first round? Well, this fight for first round halted at 4 minutes and 38 seconds. Surely a historical knockout. Alexander Volkanovski versus Brian Ortega 2021. Alexander and Brian's match was a spectacular one. The third round of their match was described as one of the best title rounds you will ever witness. Both the fighters showed their weakness and strengths both in this knockout match. Brian furiously came out in full force, knowing the fact that he had not many defensive abilities. He went far enough to take 2 submissions of this great match. Surprisingly, Alexander survived both attempts and managed to win by landing some powerful punches onto Brian's face. It was an uncertain game because both the fighters landed some great punches and kicks, making it full of impatience for the audience. Sometimes these knockouts can be harsh and brutal, yet game changers. What do you think about this one? Well, these were some of the greatest knockouts of all time. Hope you also experienced the excitement and thrill of these knockouts. For more, Keep watching and comment down below. We'll be back with yet another extraordinary video. Till then, keep watching and stay tuned.